through strangulation by means of a ligature, and also from blunt force trauma. At the time of the investigation, which was handled by the homicide section, they tracked down many leads, received many leads, and every one of them was followed up on, but ultimately their exhausted effort did not identify the suspect involved in the murder of Melanie White. And unfortunately, the case did go cold. And it wasn't until 2010 when cold case detectives re-reviewed this investigation that additional testing items recovered as evidence were submitted for DNA testing, and ultimately that testing led to the identity of a DNA profile of a male who was believed to be our suspect. That DNA profile was put into the DNA database known as CODIS. Unfortunately, it did not identify who that suspect was, and nor did it correlate or cross-reference to any other investigations being handled by law enforcement at that time. In 2021, cold case detectives, with the assistance of the Vegas Justice League, sent Melanie White's DNA, the case in the Melanie White murder investigation, to Othram for identity. It was one of the first cases that was selected in our partnership with the Vegas Justice League, in hopes of identifying our suspect DNA through forensic genetic genealogy. On August 26th of this year, almost 30 years to the day that Melanie White was found murdered, we received notice from Othram of the identity of the suspect who killed Melanie White. And he's identified as Arthur Joseph Lavery, who's pictured here to my left. We have very limited information about Lavery due to the fact that he was pronounced deceased in May of 2021 from complications with COVID. We do know that Lavery attended local high school here in Las Vegas and appears to have grown up here in the Las Vegas area and worked numerous jobs. We do know that Lavery was 38 at the time that he murdered Melanie White, and that she was, I believe, 27 years old. Today, I'm also up here joined by Melanie White's two brothers, who wish to say a few words as they hopefully close this tragic chapter in their life and seek some resolve.
Thank you very much. My name is Jason White. I'm Melanie's younger brother. I just want to say how grateful we are to the officers of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department for never giving up on finding Melanie's killer. We're very, very grateful for the contributions of the Vegas Justice League, whose donation for DNA testing by the police allowed the police to crack the case. We will always miss Melanie and believe that the solving of her murder will help bring a measure of peace to her and all of us.
In closing, the LVMPD would like to thank again and highlight the partnership that we have with the Vegas Justice League and for their unwavering support in helping provide our community, friends, and family with the assistance in solving these cold case investigations. It is their support that has directly led to the closure now of 9 cold cases that would have never been solved without their assistance. Thank you, and with that, I'll take any additional questions you may have.
I was just wondering, could you spell the name of the technologies company?
It's Othram, O-T-H-R-A-M. And we have not found any link. So what we know is that Melanie White moved here with her boyfriend in the spring of 1994, and that her family couldn't get a hold of her in June or July of that year and reported her missing. But we, during our investigation, were able to determine that numerous of her friends had seen her the night before her murder over in the area of 15th and Fremont. But we have not been able to directly tie a link between the two. We know that Mr. Lavery lived on near the area of Flamingo and Maryland Parkway right around the time of this murder, based on a driver's license address, but we have not been able to establish a direct link between the two.
Is there any other criminal history for Arthur?
No, he has a battery arrest here in the Las Vegas area, which is where the booking photo came from, but there's no other criminal history, which would explain why we didn't get the CODIS hit when we entered his DNA in the system.
Sorry to do this to you. Can you tell us the date of the murder again?
The date of the murder was, we believe, she was last seen on August 26th of 1994, And the date of the murder when her body was discovered by hikers was on August 27th of 1994.
And then I have a question for the family, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I know this is difficult, but if you don't mind walking us through how you found out that all of this happened back then and then today, or
Well, I was actually up. I was studying. I was getting my degree at ASU, and I was up in an engineering lab, and I checked a voicemail on my answering machine at the time, and I think I had a message to call you with some news that was he didn't want to leave as a message, and
I got a
you
call from the
mentioned-
police. It was the Friday before I started my semester as well, and I got a call from the police that my sister's body had been found.
and how about now when you got the good news?
I was traveling for work and I got a voicemail message, and it's obviously, people are getting a lot of texts and voicemail messages kind of because of the political time of the year we're in, and I almost didn't listen to it, and it was Officer Miller who's standing with us who had been trying to reach me, in fact, and it was a short conversation that kind of closed the book on 30 years of not knowing what happened.
Could you tell us a little bit about your sister?
Sure. I'll be very, very brief. She was my big sister, and she, we loved her very much, and she had a son who is 33, and he's healthy, and he's happy, and he's part of a family.
Right. I think another thing that would be fair to say is that she was kind of at some crossroads in her life at the time, and she was trying to get a hold of, she kind of had some trouble with jobs and trying to figure out what she was going to do for her, just kind of career, and then so she was kind of struggling. She was going back and forth between Phoenix and Las Vegas a couple of times. I don't know how many, but maybe 2 or 3, because our family was based out of Phoenix. And her boyfriend, and I think, she had a boyfriend in Las Vegas. And so she had been going back and forth a little bit. And I was anyway, kind of a little bit detached from what was going on with her because she had been moving back and forth. And she was 7 years older than me. And I had spent numerous times helping her move from one apartment to another and stuff. And it just, at the point where she had come out here, so I had kind of gotten my head back in my studies and just was like, this whole thing was a surprise. But we basically, she was a super kind heart. Like she was into fashion. She was just a really nice person. It's tragic. It's totally tragic. And it really, if I may add to it, which was the effect of her death really shattered my mother. That was probably the biggest ongoing thing for our family, was that my mom was just absolutely destroyed for, it took a long time for that to get back to kind of a normal situation. So, yeah, it's nice to have closure on this now.
Would you mind also sharing your name? We have Jason's, but I was curious.
My name is Walter White.
I had a question. When you first heard the name of the person who killed your sister, did that name ring a bell, or how did you...
It did not.
No.
And, obviously, he never spent any time behind bars for this. He died before he saw that. I'm just curious if either of you have any sort of feelings about the fact that he died before he saw time behind bars.
I mean, honestly, I don't know much about him. To be totally honest, I actually don't want to know much more about him. Like, I'm not going to dig into this at all, other than maybe whatever comes out of, I'll probably review a press release or whatever, but I really don't care.
I don't have a tremendous amount of,
Just relying on the DNA evidence, that's satisfactory enough for you to take solace in knowing that this was solved, and without the absence of any conviction or anything like that, you're totally satisfied.
I think the technology
But
is
we need your name for the quote. Yeah, no, yeah, that's right. Honestly, I just want to say thank you again to the the work of the police department, which
And-
has been tireless, and of the Vegas Justice League, which has completely changed our lives. This has been unsolved for 30 years, and now it's solved. Like I can't tell you what that means to us. So thank you very, very much.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.